Hello, everybody. What's up, Cowboy Nation? And welcome to the inaugural Dallas Cowboys Game Time Tournament featuring Fortnite. That's right, the first ever Dallas Cowboys esports tournament. I am so excited. My name is John Keffelucas, also known as Fallout, joined alongside Jacob, MVPR, FNCS caster, my duo for quite some time. My brother, how you feeling?
I'm feeling excited. I'm so happy to be here. Almost speechless in some cases, but you know as well as I do, I can almost not stop talking. So speechless isn't necessarily something I throw in my vocabulary.
As our speechless and in PR, not using the same sentence, should not be. This man is one of the best casters in Fortnite and in esports, I will say. I have nothing but high regards for him. I'm excited to call the action with you today. It's going to be a great day of Fortnite competition. That's right. It's a zero builds tournament. So that means, well, not the same Fortnite you've seen where people can build mansions in the matter of seconds. That's right. It comes down to gun skill. PR, let's jump right into it. Talk about the differences between zero build and what you watch in FNCS and builds in Fortnite.
I mean, honestly, the biggest thing is zero builds where you can't kind of defend yourself. You can't get that get out of jail free card if you get caught out of position. So patience, knowing exactly what you're going to do, and actually strategizing is going to be very, very important. And risking it all for eliminations is going to be huge for players that are trying to make up the difference. Maybe when we get in the later stretch of those games, and you're going to see items that aren't necessarily utilized in builds mode. You got the porta bunkers, you have the shield bubbles, and then you got to mention the return of ODM gear, which was at one point or another taken out of competitive for a small bit, which is back here, plus all those other items here in Fortnite that everybody normally loves to see. The little kind of, I think the shield barrels, the chug splashes, the legendary ODMs, and it's 3 different vaults on the map that is in typical builds that is going to actually be very, very useful here when in terms of those heals in the late game.
Hit the nail on the head, set us up perfectly. But hey, look, before we jump into gameplay, let's go ahead and walk through the various aspects and details of this competition, starting with the rules here. PR, walk me through it.
Well, you got 5 games to be played on the day. It's solo lobbies like we're talking about, no builds. Eliminations are worth 1 point, and players are going to be placed by their cumulative score, and then you can see the tiebreakers below. First place is going to get 30 points for that victory out in terms of placement, and then it kind of cascades down from there. As you can kind of see, it breaks down. 50th through 75th is going to be 1 point. So you don't get anything just for loading in. You got to fight for every single one of these points in terms of placement, and then obviously you got to literally fight in terms of those elimination points.
That's right. 1 point per elimination is crucial here. So you're going to see a lot of focus on placement here, but it's really a mixed lobby of player skill. We'll talk about more about that here in a little bit, but let's actually talk about what's at stake. What is the prize for today's competition? Well, it's probably one of the best prizes I have ever seen in any esports competition I've casted. All expenses paid trip for 2 to Super Bowl. Then Super Bowl next year, I can't do my math. That is what, 58? Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. Maybe, just maybe, the Dallas Cowboys will be there. They're looking good for next year. I'm really excited for that. I mean, what a grand prize that is, PR. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go to a Super Bowl. I can certainly say I have not, but I have been in Atlanta for Super Bowl week and weekend doing some Xbox and other activations. It is such a good time. This is a crazy prize.
Yeah, I mean, I was in LA for the Super Bowl and that Super Bowl week for that. So just being around that atmosphere is huge. So I'm going to be looking at whoever wins today to see if I got me a new best friend, because you heard it right. It's 2 tickets, and you guys are playing in a solos lobby. So there's going to be 1 ticket left to spare. I might have to go 1v1 against you, Fallout, for that extra ticket.
No, I'm down for 1v1. I will definitely dominate you in a 1v1 creative match. But no, I listen, our boy Reflections is playing in this. That's a good idea. Maybe we should start just making friendlies here in this solos competition. Something tells me people will probably take, family or their significant other before they choose us. But hey, we can try. That's for sure. But look, at the end of the day, big shout out to Dallas Cowboys, first ever tournament. I love the logo, by the way. You see it behind us. Notice how it's not a mouse and keyboard. It's a controller. That's right. The right input for games and for Fortnite. No, I'm just kidding. Big shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for putting this on. And also, massive shout out to our partner in Lenovo for being our sponsor for this event. Lenovo makes smarter technology for all. I've had a chance to use quite a few Lenovo products in my time, the ThinkPad, the Yoga, so many good PCs, but then also peripherals. We're wearing the Lenovo headset right now. They are the best in the business. And of course, thank you to Lenovo for partnering for this event. But PR, I'm excited for this competition. Look, it's going to be a really, really good one. Start jumping into the players that we can expect to perform. Who we can keep an eye out for? Who do you got your eye on?
I mean, there's a ton of players to watch out for in this competition. I'm looking at a couple of players that even played in the FNCS competition. I can see Cease. I see Trey 509. We can go ahead and mention a lot of players that specialize in the zero builds. You got Pilkey. You even got Zemi playing in this competition. And then you've got Fluger, who's played in both collegiate and the FNCS, both build and zero build. So there's a ton of experience to go around this lobby.
Yeah, that's right. No, your ex-set's very own Cease is probably my favorite. Punisher. I've been a big fan of Punisher for a long time. He's been competing ever since the summer skirmish days, way back when, one of the longest lasting veterans in the scene. But then we got our boy Reflections playing as well. He's a Fortnite caster. He's going to be holding it. I notice how you laugh because you're not expecting much from Reflections, are you?
No, I mean, I think he can do it. It's 0 builds. It kind of helps a lot of the people. This guy has a brain. You guys know him personally. He is in the armed forces, so he does know how to play tactically in a lot of these different areas. So it's just a matter if he can execute on his mechanical skill. But another caster we have in here is Sancho West, who specializes in 0 builds. He's trying to achieve that Unreal rank, which just came to Fortnite. So a lot of these players are going to see the varying different ranks. Some of them are Unreal. Some are still fighting for that rank because it is so new.
By the way, I love that rank. So for those that did not know, I haven't played Fortnite in quite some time. They just launched a brand new ranked mode and rank system. It is awesome. You can climb a ladder, and the top rank, of course, Unreal mode, which is pretty cool reference to Unreal Editor in Fortnite or Unreal Engine, Epic Games. So I'm a big fan of that. And make sure to go check out Fortnite and grind yourself some ranked if you are as well. But look, you did mention one player, Fluger. You talked about someone that is actually local to Texas, UT Arlington, Texas. He's a Cowboys fan. I've been casting him for years in a variety of collegiate or DreamHack or other competitions. He also competes in FNCS. We actually had a chance to catch up with Fluger right before the broadcast here. Let's go ahead and listen in and hear what Fluger had to say. Fluger, what's up, man? Good to be chatting with you again. I've had a chance to cast it quite a few times over the past few years in competitive Fortnite. First things first, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well. I feel like you've been going to UT Arlington, Texas for like 9 years now. Maybe time's going by slow, but are you still in school, man? I'd start with that.
Yeah.
First things first. I think you're the captain, or you're part of the UT Arlington esports team, and you play Fortnite for UT Arlington. Talk to me about that. How that experience has been.
Yes, sir. I've been a part of UT Arlington for about 3 years now. I'm about to be a senior, going to my last year. I'm double majoring in business management and marketing, and I am the captain for the UTA team here. So it's been a journey. It definitely has been, with all these up roads with the collegiate scene. So super excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Did you start the esports program? You must have been a freshman then, because I've been casting you for 3 years or so. Did you start the program?
I contacted the guys at UT Arlington about like creating a Fortnite program there, and they loved the idea. So I was like, awesome, let's get it going. So
fit right in. That's amazing. I'll ask one more question. I'll throw it over to PR. You're repping your Texas hat. You're obviously Texas proud. What does it mean to you to be playing in the Dallas Cowboys Game Time tournament, the first ever tournament the Dallas Cowboys put on?
Yeah, no, I've been a Dallas Cowboys fan for a while now, ever since I was growing up. I moved up to Arlington for school, so now I'm like a 5-minute drive from the stadium, and super proud to be a part of this whole game time.
Hey, Dallas Cowboys Game Time tournament. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Jacob, what you got for him?
I mean, to me, you already alluded, Fallout, to his competitive career. I've seen you play in many different tournaments, collegiate cups, Tim the Tapman Throwdown. You even teamed with me in a Twitch Rivals before. What is some of your mindset going into this 0 build event?
I mean, hopefully to win it all. I mean, Super Bowl tickets on the line. Gotta play for those. I mean, I wouldn't be mad with the top 10, top 5, but it is solo, so it is a different game mode. I have not played 0 build solo since the Tim Tapman event, but hopefully everything will go good.
Without giving away too much, any strategies? Any strategies going into it?
Landing my home Shattered Slabs, so hopefully we can get the mythic Havoc there and come out strong.
I love it, man. Yeah, and you perform every solos competition I've seen you play, and you perform well. So I'm excited to see what you can do. If you do win, you're going to the Super Bowl. You +1, all expenses paid trip, which is pretty awesome. We going to see the Cowboys there next year?
I believe so. I don't see why not.
I love it. Fluger, the Dallas Cowboys fan of UT Arlington, and of course, going to watch the Cowboys in Las Vegas next year. We'll see if you can do it, man. Best of luck to you in the competition today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time. How awesome was that, hearing from Fluger, and what a special event for him, PR.
It definitely is. And I watched him qualify in his games for this. He kind of started off slow in those first 3 hours, but he gave himself a little bit of pep talk. He was streaming it. He was talking to his chat. And then since then, I think he had some of the highest scoring games that I at least got to witness. Maybe there were some players that scored higher, but he had at least a 24 bomb, a 22 bomb. And I forget his last game, but I remember turning off the stream at one point or another because I told him, bro, all you have to do is just win at this point. He had over 20. So 320 bombs or more in his qualification process just to get here. He's somebody that you got to watch out for if he starts to get heated up.
Absolutely. He's definitely on my players to watch list, top 5, I think, coming into this one. We'll see if he can perform in this one. It's going to be a great day of action. It's cool also hearing him talk about the Tim the Tatman tailgate event. That was another Fortnite Zero Build event, a solos competition. I had a chance to cast that with Reflections, who's actually playing today. And he performed well in that tournament. I can't remember what his placement was, but if I do remember correctly, he was top 5 or top 10.
Top 3.
He was definitely a gunner.
Better.
So I'm really excited to see what he can do. But look, enough of us talking heads. Guess what? The inaugural Dallas Cowboys game time competition is ready, is here. Let's jump into the action in just a moment. Game number 1 just around the corner. PR, what can we expect in terms of gameplay here? Talk to me, maybe for someone that hasn't watched or played Fortnite in some time. Catch us up.
Yeah, for zero builds, it's kind of tricky. It's a little bit different that you normally kind of play with builds, being able to farm up, defend yourself right out of the gates. You have to make sure your drop spot is pristine, because some of these players, if you are contested, if they had a better drop, they can easily grab that weapon, whatever it may be, and try to push you if they know the floor and loot spawn. So we're going to be looking at a couple of spots that are contested. I know going towards Genjitsu, we might have Polarize and Pilkey contesting each other, but there's still a lot of open space, so they might not interact too very early on. I know towards Simi Springs, you also have Brax, Bronos, and Chris, a 3-way contestation down there, but again, there's still space. If nobody else lands out there, they could split. I'm going to be mainly looking down towards the racetrack, though. That's where you have Zemi, that's where you have Kodal, and nearby Blur Antics lands close by, which where 2 kinetic blades are going to be there as well. So that's another going to be hot drops. But then other than that, you got to look at the 3 vaults that are around the map. One Brittle Bastion, the one towards Shatter Slabs, and Mega City. Since they don't spawn right away, it's very important for these players to watch out for any third parties that might come in.
I love that. Love the detail behind that. We'll keep an eye on all of the above, especially some of the action around those vaults. It's kind of hot spots on the map, or players like to clump or congregate in that area because the loot is so valuable. But speaking of loot, let's get a little more high level. Talk to me about the weapons right now. What's in meta? What can we expect? What are we going to see a lot of players use?
Typically, you're going to see anybody that can grab the mythics. Realistically, if you can get them from those vaults, even though you don't have that one-shot potential anymore, it does 210 damage. It's going to drop the shields, and then you can kind of go for the Maven close quarters right after, or the combat to go to close the distance. But typically, you're going to see a lot of players utilize the bubble shields very early on, and right out of the gates. I think that's 3 people going towards Genjitsu. I know Cease is very native to Brutal Bastion. He likes to claim the vaults as his own.
All right, well said. Speaking of Cease, jumping on board with him, you did see some Dragon Ball Z action there. That's right. Again, if you haven't played Fortnite in a while, or we're not aware what Epic and what Fortnite are doing with so many different characters across so many different IP or intellectual properties, it's amazing. Dragon Ball Z, Gears of War, Halo. I mean, you name it. There's so different anime titles. If you're a fan of anime, if you're a fan of Marvel and superhero, all these different characters you can play in the experience. And now that they released Unreal Editor and Fortnite, guess what? Those characters are going to extend to any game and any experience. I don't know if you saw the Nick Merckx and Tim the Tatman and others are going to be making their own game using Unreal Editor and Fortnite. But it's pretty amazing how Fortnite has evolved and what it's evolved into.
It definitely has kind of opened up the doors for a lot of different creators, a lot of different people. You don't necessarily have to be a professional at the game because of exactly what you said. The Unreal Engine, being able to play and make video games and maps on UEFN, it's absolutely huge and life-changing opportunities, just like going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right. That's the prize. That's what's at stake here in this competition. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dallas Cowboys Game Time Tournament. Again, first ever Dallas Cowboys esports competition. It's a solos competition, 0 build Fortnite. So what that means, well, you can't build. I know that's kind of a staple of Fortnite, but a lot of people have loved this new game mode. Slows things down, makes it more about gun skill, movement, and mechanics. PR, you personally as a player, not as a caster, as a player, do you prefer 0 build or do you prefer builds in Fortnite?
I prefer builds. It's just so high skill, even though I'm not necessarily the best at it. It's such a high skill ceiling that when you make that play or hit that edit or whatever it may be, it's just a satisfying feeling. Reminds me of the old Gears of War days.
I love it, man. Hey, look, you're right. Gears had such a high skill. Speaking of Epic Games, skill ceilings. So does Fortnite, that's for sure. But look, I'm the exact opposite. I don't have the time to match that skill ceiling. I love 0 builds Fortnite. I love being able to jump in and use all the old, gun skill I had from playing professionally for many years. I even played Fortnite professionally for some time for Ghost Gaming back in the day. It's been a lot of fun to be able to jump back into Fortnite in 0 build competition, but not necessarily get your butt kicked because you can't build as fast or as good as you used to.
You got to be careful here, especially in this one right here. K-Burbs, if he has an ODM, he can go ahead and dash and break through the builds, but already he knows Bougie's down there. He chased him on over over to this one building in towards Anvil Square, and he's trying to hold his location. He sees not breaking through the builds with the Havoc. The first shot's going to go down, but it only does so much thanks to the overshield, and K-Burb's doing a little bob and weave action to land a couple more shots.
Well, great. K-Burbs is controlling this fight in its entirety. This is where he wishes he could build a ramp. Doesn't need one. The nice little jump shot. You can tell K-Burbs has been putting in the work. Played that zero build scenario so well. Rather than panicking and pushing back into the room behind him and hitting reset, he just got a little pop shot, jump shot, like a J coming through from LeBron James, who needs to step up, by the way, in these NBA Finals. But nonetheless, great job overall for K-Burbs here. Or more like Dak Prescott with a little jump throw is probably the better reference here.
Yeah, I like the way he kind of played that one out overall. And look at his loot now. He's stacked up. He has usually the 2 weapons that you go ahead and use. It's going to be the Red Eye is primarily. And then after that, you might use a Twin Mag SMG. Those are the kind of the 2 1-2 punch combos. And then from there, it's the shotgun, mobility, and then heals, right? And then usually in FNCS, you would take 2 different heals. But in zero builds, you need those bubble shields. You need those porta bunkers. You need something to get you out of a spot. And since you can't build, those are 2 huge items in your inventory come towards the late game. Oh, somebody's tire just got heavy sniped out. No mobility. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, that's right. No mobility, has to get out of the car because his tire just got popped. Licks Pow here has a decent inventory. Not a whole lot in terms of heals to their name, though. And, of course, Overshield currently out. For those that don't know, Overshield currently inactive. For those that don't know, PR talks about Overshield and zero builds and what that means.
Overshield is basically 50 shields that regenerates over time, and it doesn't affect your actual shield and HP bar. You kind of see it over on the right where you see where eliminations are kind of tallied up. That little blue Thunderbolt shield, that is going to be known as the Overshield. If you don't take damage, you do regenerate it back. So it's very, very tricky for some of these players that are trying to do the math in their head, and they forget that zero builds does have that Overshield, and they're trying to do the math. That could be something that bites somebody in the behind if they forget about it, because that's 50. That's 50 shield and HP, and that's where I talk about the Mythic Havoc cannot one pump you in zero builds.
That's right. It's massive. Extra 50 health, and it can one pap Lux Pow, as Lux Pow does not have full shields to their name. Did he just get powed? Speaking of which, no, it was Dodge that got taken out.
Somebody down.
It was a Reflection.
Reflection took down School, which is actually an FNCS West professional player.
Unbelievable. All right, maybe we got to put some respect on Reflection's name. That the man's been putting in the work. Taylor Reflections Noble, Fortnite commentator. Sancho West, another Fortnite commentator. Both playing in this competition, showing what they got. I was about to make fun of them throughout. I will make fun of them throughout because they're my boys. And I'll just say there's a reason we stopped competing and started shoutcasting, right? And it has something to do with lack of skill. Reflections proved me wrong.
Surprise me, he's right there. But you can kind of see the lay of the land when it does come to the map. Still got a couple people fighting over that Mega City vault, so it's definitely we see something here towards zero builds that is not going to be easily obtainable if people are going to try to contest it. And I do believe we got what I'm going to call him D. I don't know if his name's David or DQXvid, but I definitely going to go ahead and follow him on Twitch if he shows me something to remember. I think this is a great opportunity for some of the players that might be playing in this event that have qualified or might be unknown. This could be the start of somebody's career. I've seen it so many times before. These third-party events hosted by the superstars like Dallas Cowboys come in. They give people a chance to shine. And guess what? People like Fluger, you placed top 3 in Tim the Tatmans, and now you're playing in the Dallas Cowboys. And who knows? Next thing you know, you're in the Super Bowl.
Insane. Can you imagine? Life-changing opportunity here for the young Fluger, 21 years old. UT Arlington, Texas, a rising senior. By the way, congratulations to everyone who just graduated. Seniors that are probably graduating either today or recently from various schools around the country. I know it's a big, exciting time. Whether you're a senior in high school, senior in college, congratulations to all of you. And that's my favorite time of year because, you know, YPR football season right around the corner, brother. We get to watch the NFL again.
Ready for that one.
Me too.
I'm ready to watch the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see if Dak Prescott can kind of turn it up this season. Do you think he's going to turn it up this season?
I think he will, man. I think the Cowboys are going to make it to at least the NFC Championship this year. They've been on the up and up. I think they're going to be just better and better. I want to see them lock it in the playoffs. With that said, I don't know if they play my Bear. I'm from Chicago. Like, I'm not going. I ain't going to pretend like I'm a Cow. My sister's a massive Cowboys fan.
My brother is too.
It really, yeah. When my sister found out, she saw my Dallas Cowboys T-shirt. She's like, "What? You're a Bears fan?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm a Cowboys fan for the next couple of weeks."
Ooh.
Shot at the Cowboys, put it on the cement. Oh my
Somebody
gosh.
called an Uber.
The hijack. He's gonna get right in the car. Joins, kill nuts against the elimination. Zemi with a cheeky play immediately drops the border fort and immediately gets to reset to full. But this is looking scary for Zemi. He's getting flown at.
Back-to-back shield fishes, get him 80 shields to work with. Zemi's been in this situations before. He's played in some of the most prestigious zero build events that we've had so far in Fortnite, and this is great movement. He's trying to trick out Hazley. He knows he doesn't have the health lead, so this is important for him to stay alive. But the combat shotgun with the distance from Hazley is going to take down Zemi, and there goes a big name out of the lobby already.
Yeah, Hasi plays that perfectly. Outmaneuvered, outsmarted with Zemi, but obviously Zemi had the disadvantage. Hasi came through with the third party. Zemi was a little taken out, was already damaged from the previous fight, and Hasi gets the elimination. So it's going to be one for each. Zemi gets an elimination, but gets taken out in 49th place. Hasi gets to fight another day here.
Yeah, honestly, the first game is going to be one of those games where you can kind of make your excuses. You're feeling each other out. You know, a lot of players are trying to land at their drop spots and maybe over contested. So in game number 2, you might see some switch ups. So if any of these players did go back to the lobby very early on, you may see them hit the VODs, figure out where players are landing, and figure out where can I change things up at.
That's a great point. And again, for those that maybe are watching with the Dallas Cowboys, maybe you don't play Fortnite competitively, this is your first esports tournament, I'll keep kind of explaining things. When he says go back and watch the VODs, what does he mean? Video on demand. So basically run back and watch this broadcast. And we showed the map, we showed where everyone's dropping, and you can pick a different drop spot going into the second game based on what is or is not available. Think of it like a game of real estate or Monopoly, if you will. You want to go and pick your own spot, your own location to drop in where you're not going to get contested. Some locations have better loot or better positioning than others. As you see the map right here, this is a perfect example. You know, Brutal Bastion or the Citadel or others that are better drop spots based on loot. And we'll see how people react here in game 2.
Yeah, with the zone changes this season, particularly the ones that came mid-F and CS, there's a little bit of a pattern that does go on with the zones. You got to be able to kind of watch where that first zone is and kind of follow it there. We're going to get a north to western pull, but eventually we're going to have a little bit of a cutback towards the south or eastern side of the map. So where you position yourself is going to be important. But a lot of these players in zero builds, you like to see them hover towards the edge of zone. They like to make sure nobody is behind them, so that way they can shield themselves. But there goes NPen trying to think outside of the box. He chops down the tree, and he's trying to break through the builds. Leaves Thoric no place to hide, and you can see his loadout right now. It's going to be very, very hard for Thoric to survive this if he does it right.
That's right. I love how Elite's playing this, basically giving himself some rolling cover. And he's going to use this to break this building in its entirety. Heads up plays from Elite. NPen here. Thoric right in front. Maintaining control is NPen, but Thoric says, nah, this is my fight. Good back and forth shots, but NPen's going to get the elimination over Ignites Thoric. What a play from NPen from start to finish. Brilliantly pursued.
Yeah, and you can kind of see the kind of benefits of the heist and accelerated Maven right there. As you go ahead and fire more and more shots up, the speed and the rate of fire does ramp up. So NPen had the advantage over Thoric, who had a gold Maven. So you can kind of see the two difference. When you have these heisted weapons, you get a little bit of ability kind of go along with it, and NPen used that one to perfection, knowing exactly what to do. But it doesn't surprise me. FNCS finalist, he's a collegiate player. He's been around the block once or twice.
Looks like it's fall time in Fortnite land right now. You know, what happened to the days where they would follow the seasons, you know? Maybe probably just a certain POI on the map overall. But no, jokes aside, hiding in a rake of leaves. I don't know about you, PR. You live in Vegas. You ain't got no leaves there. That's for sure. You're in the desert. But where I come from in the Midwest, yeah, very dried up. Where I come from in the Midwest, that's what we used to do as kids. You used to rake up leaves and then jump on them. You ever experienced that as a kid?
Once or twice, actually. Once or twice.
Nice. California living?
Exactly. When I lived in California before I moved over. So what you guys are seeing right now, though, is NPen, every single player spawns with a weapon cache, but some players share that weapon cache with another that you're going to have to fight for. And it degrades in rarity depending on how long it does take. So even though he's not going to get much better weapons, he's going to get those legendary slurp juices, which gives you health and HP and shields over time. So it's very, very important, and a huge difference between just a chug splash, a mini, or even a big pot.
That's a great point. Yeah, taking a look at everyone watching, I guess. Take a look at the top left of your screen. 38 out of 77 players remaining. So, you know, yes, take a look at this beautiful Game Time logo and this Lenovo logo that's about to show. But no, talk to me, PR. such an aggressive early game. Is this what you'd expect typically in zero build, or is it usually a little bit, less fast paced compared to FNCS and builds for it?
Well, in the early game, that's when you're going to see a lot of these risky eliminations, because the chances of getting third party, because everybody's going to rotate in and try to get to their spot. So those are the times you're going to get those eliminations are spread out. And oh my gosh, Fladoom, bro, they're shallow in the bush. I know he doesn't see them. Grab a rake, get those leaves out of your way. Oh no. And then you got plays like this in the mid game. End game is where you're going to see the aggression actually ramp up and somebody try to make a difference as he gets third-partied by one. Shallow's patience right here is huge.
And he nosedives right into the water, but finds a way to survive for now. How much of a blessing was that, PR? There happens to be a whip right next to him.
Wow.
Gets in the whip and manages to survive, but for now, he was getting taken out by 2 players there. Simultaneously, this car is in shambles, though, just like Fladoom's life right now. We'll see if he can survive this.
He even shot into the bush, missed Shallow by mere inches to go ahead and get third party. And you can see right there, the Bush Warrior augment's already taken up, giving him shield and HP.
Yep, huge.
He popped the mini just in case he started getting tagged at, but this is where it's going to stop at 150. And so he's at least healthy enough. You add in that overshield, so he has 200. The only way he's going to go down in one shot is a sniper headshot, or if somebody has that mythic Havoc pump.
That's right. You mentioned the Bush Warrior augment. For those that haven't played Fortnite yet in Chapter 3, it's obviously been out for a couple months. It's been a lot of fun. The addition of augments. These are kind of like perks that you can get. Different augments unlock different things. One of them is Bush Warrior, which gives you HP and shield while sitting in a bush. On board with 2 AM Frost right now. Speaking of brand new items, talk to me about this one here, PR.
That's the ODM, the collaboration between Attack on Titan, brought into the game, and it kind of serves a very, very similar purpose as the grapple hook or the Spider-Man web slingers, but it adds that double of the dash attack where you're able to break through builds. And if zero builds, you get caught off guard. If someone like this, Fluger's hiding in the attic, just trying to play his position very, very relatively safe, it could break through the builds and cause so much destruction. And if he doesn't have anything to kind of defend himself, it's like a fish getting caught out of water.
That's right. And we talked about Fluger a lot in the pregame. Jumping on board with him now for the first time on broadcast is Fluger, UT Arlington captain of their Fortnite team, which again, I never thought it so quickly esports would be accepted and embraced at the collegiate level. I heard a story the other day by a couple of young kids that are agents, just graduated from Syracuse, and said, our Syracuse D1 football players asked to play with the Syracuse Fortnite team. That's right. They wanted to play against them in Fortnite or Call of Duty. Pretty cool to see esports accepted and embraced at the collegiate level. So many different colleges, universities offering esports scholarships now. You can join the collegiate esports team just like you could the football or basketball or baseball team, which is really great to see how quick esports is growing with the explosion of games like Fortnite.
You see somebody's already claiming that Rift Island towards the top. It loads up into the game, and you can capture that point. You can get overclocked mythic pulse rifles. There's a ton of loot up there to grab. And Vanilla's right here, one of my favorites as well. Coming up close in FNCS Chapter 3, Season 3 of the West region before it combined. He fell short just by a little bit, and you can see what his plan is right now. Get some shield for himself, get some cover for himself with that porta bunker, and then he's going to use the med kit before he continues his rotation in towards zone. But now that it pulled towards the south, that's going to give him at least some time to kind of deal with where he's going to plan his rotation.
That's right. 34 players remaining in this competition. We're at Storm or Ring number 6 of 12. At the bottom right of your screen, 30 seconds left. Players are going to have to make this far rotation into the south. One's already doing so through the Storm. It's taking quite a bit of damage. Is that light blue player on your screen, the bottom right on your map. On board right now with David. David, currently nearby polarized. Might get caught in a 1v1. But just taking his time, clearing out his corners. Knows he has some time to make this rotation. But PR, look how many teams are clumping here at Anvil Square. This is going to be an absolute insane rotation for them.
No, it definitely is, especially if you find yourself without mobility, just like you saw David polarize, at least have something to work with. You can even see he has those mythic overclock pulse rifles. He does have that legendary Havoc, so he definitely is going to be able to kind of go 0 to 100 in a blink of an eye, and then he has the porta bunkers to kind of shield himself, which he's going to need once he starts rotating and figures out how many other players are here. Hyper awareness, another caster of Fortnite over on into the distance. 2 AM Frost, professional player for 2 AM. You can see him. He has some extras, so he's just kind of throwing it out, giving himself some cover to work with as he makes his rotation. Smart play.
That's right. Yeah, Ops against the Chug Splashes obviously has the legendary Slurp Juice, and obviously that's a lot more for superior. Here comes the push, though. Look, cheeky little movement from Polarized. I love what I'm seeing there. The wide left push. It looks like he knew that Luxpow was there. Gets the elimination on Lixpow. Immediately going to turn. Finds Juno now. Knows that they're in there. Connects for a second elimination. Polarized is on a rampage.
I told you 0 to 100 real quick, like he's in fast 10 right now, Polarized. And that's exactly why you got to claim that Rift Island to get the overclocked pulse rifles. And look at his shield in HP go up, because there is no siphon in 0 builds where you get the elimination, you get 50 shield or HP, which isn't here. That's where those slurp juices play so much of a role. And his teammate is going to be NPen, who's also in this game, who just took down Sap Games as well. And this is where you're going to see the overhead map where most of the lobby has to rotate to get to point A to point B. Pilkey's going to go ahead and try to take advantage of somebody caught out by himself. That one almost gets robbed out, but that's going to be Kinzo who goes down. And this is where a lot of these players will get tested towards the end game.
Yeah, Pilkey in the bubble shield right now. So that means can't be touched, but it's going to disappear. Immediately going to turn. Finds one. This person's just kind of desperate play. Going to drop. It's actually Polarized again. Going to drop the Porta Bunker. Pilkey versus Polarized. Battle of the Peas. Here comes the push from Pilkey. Right behind him. Polarized, though, does good damage.
Whoa!
Pilkey with the elim. He goes insane and has the heals to boot.
That was a huge find, because remember the loot? Remember the overclocked pulse rifle that Polarized just passed on over to Pilkey. And now he gets to use it as his own, but all his heals have been expended. At least he found that Porta Bunker. That is going to be the difference maker that he just found. Now he's just trying to go to where he thinks is a slow side of zone, but does he know? Does he know there's so many players there?
Yeah, tons of players on this quote-unquote slow side. Might actually be faster than he realizes. Here's one in his sights. Turns, burns, misses a couple shots right there, though. Wants those back. Pilkey has to continue rotating. Notice he's not in circle right now. Immediately finds himself a car. Will he use it or just for cover? Likely this late in game, you don't see a lot of use of the vehicles on rotations because you draw so much attention to yourself. But here comes Pilkey now. One player's going to jump right above him. It's hyper awareness. Maybe he doesn't have the awareness he needs.
Ooh, just a couple of tags on the Statics. This is one that he needs to finish
Statics.
up. He needs the loop, but Statics with a couple of charges tries to get away, but he gets caught at the tail end. That's 3 eliminations for Pilkey as we get into the top 16. And into the top 16, that's where those placement points begin to ramp up, or at least into that top 15.
That's right. Pilkey making moves right now. That was brilliant. Great shots, great accuracy. And guess what? The zone's going to be pulling east, right where Pilkey, I believe, was. So Pilkey's in a great position here to either do one of two things. Gatekeep and get eliminations from people that are trying to rotate without builds, or early rotate, find a god spot or great position for this late game. We're now on storm number 8.
Gonna be tricky.
Pilkey got taken out.
Oh, Vanilla's as well. Frost falls into somebody else's hand. Baller's Mike, where he thought he was safe and going to be able to kind of hide towards the low ground. Now he has to reposition. Victor V, very, very young gamer. I believe he's like 13 years old, playing from Las Vegas as well. He's definitely one of those players that earned a name for himself by contesting some of the biggest players on the West region at the time in Epic Well and Arkham.
That's right. Victor V going for the victory right here over Baller. Overall victory royale. 10 players left in contention. Sancho West, shoutcaster from Cali, still alive and well. Playing as the Cowboys skin. Things you love to see. He's also a massive Dallas Cowboys fan, so this is really a cool event for him. Immediately jumps right on top of the truck, hops in the pickup, and rotates through. Is he going to make it an untouched?
This is huge.
This is quite the interesting rotate.
This is huge.
Yeah.
He was telling me his favorite Cowboys are Darren Woodson, Moose Johnson. He's poking Cowboys gives, scoring a touchdown. This is exactly one of those strategies that people don't expect, because you hit the nail on the head. People do not typically take cars into the late game. Now, if you see a car, you look at it, especially now, you don't hear the engine. He's just a passenger skating his way to placement points. Sancho West, he could go all the way.
That's right. Wow, he is straight chilling, but immediately going to pop out. Misses a couple of shots.
Just a game of peekaboo.
Sancho is Mr. Incognito right now. An actual Cowboys player, fully suited, maybe running late to the stadium. Is like, I got to get going here. Now, jokes aside, Sancho's finally going to get spotted out. Needs to drop no builds to his name. Does have the rotate, does have the mobility. Finds himself a tree to find some positioning, some moment of respite for now. Here comes Victor V, going to get the elimination. Sancho, goodbye. See you later.
Top 5. He at least got, I think, 20 total points in this game, if my maths are correct, which don't quote me on that one. Quinn versus Victor V. He gets spotted out as well. Those pulse rifles are dealing so much damage around the lobby, and that's Wicked on top.
Yeah, it's huge. Porta bunkers in no build. Massive. That's why you see every character. The Victor, though, does get taken out. Nice try for Victor V. Wicked on high ground in a good position to win this game. Quinn in a 1v1. Wicked steals the elimination. Can he get the double? Quinn versus Wicked, a 1v1 for the bread here.
You can see Wicked immediately trying to take the high ground with the bunker. Shield bubble coming out from Quinn. He's trying to play that min-maxing that you're telling me about. Pop out of the bubble while trying not to take too much damage. Wicked's going to go over. This is the moment. A couple of missed shots. Quinn's playing it perfectly, and he wins the game, taking down Wicked.
Quinn with the defensive play gets the first victory royale of the day. What
Wow.
a 1v1, and what a finish. Wow. Your wow is correct. That was an insane first game. Zero build Fortnite did not disappoint.
That was just huge and perfect play around that shield bubble. Exactly the mind games that test a lot of these players, going in and out and trying to get your opponent to miss the shot and landing a perfect one just like you saw. That was picture perfect at the end.
That's right. Outside of that late game, obviously, congratulations on the win for Wicked. But nonetheless, outside of that, what did you see that you impressed you the most, PR, throughout those games? What were some of your highlights?
I mean, Polarized did a good job of getting out of some tough scenarios multiple times throughout that last game. Unfortunately, he was just in one too many tough scenarios where he had no other choice but to get a refresh, and eventually that does catch up to you.
That's right. This is the early game fight from Zemi. We thought we'd see more out of Zemi this game, but it was a really good job from Hasi, third partying this fight to success. And I don't think we saw Hasi in the late game, so they must have not been able to make it. It was a pretty far rotation. Look at the bottom right of your screen. Meanwhile, this is an awesome play here. Love Elite NPen's use of rolling cover and a great use of the shotgun to get the elimination over Thoric in this one with 43 players left. And then it was Polarized. It became the Polarized show. He only had one elimination. Start counting, starts your counter, make it a second, immediately turns, finds another one on Juno right there. Has really a pretty good wherewithal to spot out both of those players. Wins this 1v1 against Juno as well. He was on a tear, but then ultimately did get shut down.
Yeah, and honestly, Sancho West as well, playing Fortnite zero builds to perfection. He got his one elimination just in case Storm Surge became a problem, which you didn't really see it activate. And then it was kind of smooth sailing. Collect those placement points because it's 30 points for that Victory Royale if you do take that top spot. But top 8 is where half of those placement points actually are. He got 19 for 5th place. So as long as you can remain consistent through those 5 games, that's all you might need is those top 5s. But only time will tell at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's right. Pilkey, thought we were going to see a lot out of them in this late game. This is a nice shot against Statics. Then we didn't see it on screen necessarily, but we did see Pilkey get taken out soon after. Sancho just chilling on the side of the mountain in a pickup truck. This is like my grandfather in Greece, just sitting with his pickup we used to all hang out in. Not necessarily, scaling a mountain, but in the mountainous island of Crete. But jokes aside, Sancho here did end up getting taken out by Victor V. A valiant effort, 5th place, 1 elimination was good. Wicked on high ground, ended up getting top 2. First elimination there on Victor V. Drops to low, pushes Quinn with the defensive push, and tried their best, but ultimately Quinn gets the dub. Quinn with the elimination on Wicked. And Quinn is your winner of game number 1.
Yeah, Quinn has kind of been practicing as well. He qualified through the qualifiers, so he has a ton of experience. And then he has even more experience because he plays with viewers. He puts himself in so many different scenarios. I think he's been one of the few players that does see it all in terms of the level of competition. And that's going to be a huge victory royale because that's 30 points off that alone. Depending on how many elimination points that he has, he can probably keep that up and build himself a little lead within the next game.
That's right. And for these players, like Quinn and others that play, either build Fortnite or FNCS and maybe don't play as much zero builds, do you think they have a disadvantage from like the all-in, I'm just a zero builds player, or is it pretty easy to transition those skills?
I think for the most part, it is easy to transition over
Agreed.
a good majority of the skills. There's some fundamentals that are more so in zero builds, like checking your corners, checking the buildings, the attics, every single nook and cranny where players will, and you best believe they will try and hide in a lot of those scenarios. That's not necessarily as prevalent in builds because you don't need to go into a building because you could just build your own. So a lot of those, majority of those things do carry over, but the small little differences. So if you're choosing now to learn, you might get caught up on a little of the simple things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I think it does require slightly more game sense because you can't just get out of jail free card, build yourself,
Exactly.
cover if you get caught in a bad spot. Every decision is super important, so it does require really, really good game sense. That's why I think players like Nick Merckx, even Tim the Tap Man can come back and play zero builds and find somewhat success. And it really is because, hey, at the end of the day, it's the same games we grew up playing, right?
Yeah.
Gears of War, Halo, games where you need to learn how to push wide right, outsmart your teammates, use cover, check your corners. a lot of those traditional, game sense requirements carry over to Zero Builds Fortnite in a pretty big way. So if you haven't had a chance to play Zero Builds yourself, make sure to check it out. And hey, look, you might have some time because we're going to take a very quick break. Again, big thank you to Lenovo, making smarter technology for all, for partnering and supporting this event. Let's go ahead and throw it to a Lenovo break here. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Cowboys Nation, to the Dallas Cowboys Game Time Tournament featuring Fortnite. I'm Fallout, joined alongside Jacob, MVPR. We're one game down, 4 more to go in this 5-game series. Winner gets an all-expenses-paid trip for 2 to the Super Bowl.
Yep, in last game, we did see some of our finalists, Quinn, take out Wicked for that top 2. We see one of my favorite people playing in Sancho West, getting a top 5 position. You got Victor V, probably one of the youngest competitors in this competition, getting a top 4 as well. So that's just only game number 1. So I talked about it throughout that first game, Fallout. This is where you're going to see a lot of those change-ups happen. If your drop shot was over-contested, if you didn't like your loot, maybe you just want to land somewhere else because you didn't like the vibe that went down in that first game, this is where it's going to be testing a lot of these players.
That's right. Do you know exactly how old Victor is? Like 14, 15, 16?
So I think 13, 14, something like that. I don't know exactly. Don't quote me.
I don't quote you on that. But I imagine being 13 years old and saying, Mom, I want a trip, all expenses paid, to Las Vegas in the Super Bowl. Yeah, not too shabby. I'm sure his mom or dad or whoever would join him or accompany him as a minor would appreciate that one.
His dad sits next to him, coaches him all the time, supports him everything he does.
That's so cool.
Papa V, you call him Pops out there. So make sure you know if you're listening to this, man, I appreciate you for supporting your boy, because who knows, he might be supporting you with some tickets to the Super Bowl.
Crazy to think. I mean, look, placed top 3 in game 1, got a couple of eliminations along the way. Not a bad start for Victor. We'll see if the young man can do it, can find a way to get him and his parents or his mom or dad to the Super Bowl. Will be a great story, that's for sure. But right now, Quinn in first place. Really, really good job in that 1v1 there. The defensive player ended up getting the win, which is typically what you see in Fortnite. Would you agree with that? Offense versus defense?
Yeah, for the most part, that's what you're going to see a lot in this competition, especially in zero builds. The thing is, once we get to game 4, once we get to games number 5, depending on where you're at in the leaderboard, since it is winner take all, Super Bowl tickets to the Super Bowl, all expensive pay that we keep talking about, you're gonna have to play a little bit riskier to try to make up that gap with elimination points. And this is where taking a note about which players that you might be faring up against and which ones you should probably stay away from, that's really going to come into play how much you are actually paying attention in these games.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's one thing I had kind of notated as my storylines over time in this broadcast, right? I think I was going to start mentioning around game 2 or 3, but I'm glad you brought it up now. The format, it's winner take all, go big or go home. There ain't no 2nd through 10th through 30th place finish or prize. That's how most Fortnite competitions are. So you're right. That's going to mean players are going to play really aggressive because they need to rack up those points. I think come game 3, 4, and especially 5, you're going to see some desperation pushes, a lot of aggression, which that means for us as casters, really fun gameplay to cast and for you as viewers to watch.
Yeah, and to me, it's just one of those situations where, if somebody is needing more eliminations and you're probably at the top, you might be able to kind of make up that difference, and it might cost somebody their game. So you got to be very, very careful not to get third parties as well. It's a huge strategical battle that does go down.
Well, hey, look, we talked about the grand and macro story. Let's look at the micro story. Let's look at the scores and leaderboards for today's competition. No surprise there. Ooh. Quinn in first place with the first place win, but only 3 points over Wicked, who got a few more eliminations. Brax in third with 23, the Jordan number. Victor V with 30. So actually, this is the result of placements. This is not the leaderboards. This is the scores from game 1. Victor V, because of their eliminations, actually in third place overall here, PR.
Yeah, I do believe Victor V picked up something like 10 eliminations.
Second place.
In that last game. So that's actually huge. And that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you could sacrifice 1 or 2 different placings to pick up those eliminations, and playing into the format in which you were already alluding to and you're already speaking about is going to be huge once we get to that second half.
That's a great point. You're going to need eliminations. Look, the Sancho West, my boy, holding down top 5 is great. I'm impressed. But if you want to win, if my man Sancho West wants to see his Cowboys, the boys, in the Super Bowl next year in Las Vegas, you got to step up in the elimination category. There's victory will profit, but again, that aggressive high elimination play style, high risk, high reward PR, because you could easily get taken out. Look at speaking of aggression, look how aggressive Quinn's going to be after he notices he breaks shield.
Oh, exactly it. He just quickly took advantage. Those are the moments right there, especially in the early game, especially if you pull zone instead of where all the teams are going to rotate into you and take away those opportunities. Quinn knows how much timing plays a role in getting these eliminations and being able to stay alive.
That's right. Nice shot from Quinn right there. Hey, cool dude, YouTube guy, whatever that gamer tag was. Shout out to you. He came soaring. The man had all the confidence in the world, like he was the one with the advantage in that fight. Just jumped across the off the building, with his best rendition of "I Believe I Can Fly." Ended up getting eliminated. On board now with Victor V. 10 eliminations last game. Guess what? He's sniffing his first of this game.
The side of that wall. He knows somebody's there. He knows he actually got away now. He doesn't want to take any chances. Look how contested. There is literally 6 people directly in Mega City, a 7th and an 8th on the outskirts of Mega City. So it's going to be very, very important to kind of watch. There is a ton of loot. Let me say that. There is a ton of loot for everybody here in Mega City as Victor V. He at least spots that one across the hall.
And using the SMG long range. Not necessarily as effective as the assault rifle, but guess what? He's got the aggression here. Takes high ground. And now he's got Sky dancing right below him. Going to break that cover. Sky running with their tail between their legs, just trying to survive, but Victor V is on the hunt.
Yeah, on the hunt indeed. They have shield bubble getting by him a couple more seconds. Victor V has to be careful. Doesn't want to get turned and burned, but he has the overshield. I don't think he can lose this battle as long as he stays on top. And there it goes. The elimination is going to be cleaned up. And this is how Victor V is staying in contention, even without winning that first game. It is through these eliminations.
I love how he played that fight, Jacob. It was perfect. He felt like a robot, felt like the Terminator, the way he just hunted down, acquired his target, and took them out immediately, following great plays from the young 13, 14-year-old Victor V.
And this is his skin too. He doesn't change off of this outfit at all. So if you see this dog in a green hoodie ready for battle, you better be careful because his bark is definitely better than anything else that I've seen. As Blake even spots one across the hall. That's Blake and Victor V. This is going to be a good battle between these two.
Yeah, that's right. Former Ghost Blake, now on TNA, PSG pro player versus aspiring and rising Fortnite pro player. And there's one more player nearby. It's what you'd expect from Mega City, right? This POI, talk to me a little bit about it, PR. Obviously, great loot. You expect a lot of players to be dropping here.
Yeah, a ton of loot. There's definitely some mobility if you can find it, especially if the Scout Regiment chests do spawn up in some of those elevators. As Blake spots him out yet again, Rob tries to go for the kinetic blade, but there's a couple of seconds fallout, which are invulnerable. You cannot move, and Blake takes advantage of that.
Yeah, this is why you love Mega City. I absolutely love the new mechanics, the zip rails going from building to building. So much fun to play, to kind of learn. It brings a new skill gap to Fortnite. Things you love to see. Now Blake sitting on top of one of the highest buildings here in Mega City with the heavy sniper to his name. Can the young Blake find the elimination on Victor? Right now, just going to find it on some NPCs.
Where he's taking down the high card and the wild cards to try to get that vault loot.
Right.
Thing is, Victor V hears that in Mega City, and he has to make the decision. Is it worth grabbing? Is it worth going for? Or is it something that he's going to be hindsight to? He's going to let Blake take a lot of that loot first, and then he's going to go ahead and scavenge what else is left as Blake just goes back to return. He gets the kinetic blade. Notice he took the shield bubbles as well, because if you go into that vault at Mega City and somebody camps towards the outside, there's no exit. So Blake is ready for anything at any turn.
It's interesting. They're in no rush either at Mega City because the zone's pulling in right to them. We'll see where this next zone ends up closing and collapsing on, but I'm expecting Blake and Victor to have big games here, unless they, of course, fight each other in a battle of the two bosses, the two Goliaths for Mega City. Switching on over, though, to Twitter's Libyan Fire. It's like, hey, look, you don't need to follow me on Twitch or YouTube. I might be one of those kids. Just drop me a follow on Twitter. It's that simple. Shot to Libyan Fire. Let's see what they can do here with their rotation right into the valley here. And looks like we got two players, three actually, nearby here.
Gotta be careful. Libyan finds the first bush, make it in center zone, knows he has that wind tunnel beneath for rotation, as an escape plan, has the kinetic blade as well. You can see him going into the augment selection here, and this is where it's zero builds. If you prepared for this event as well, Fallout, you stacked up your 5,000 gold, give yourself plenty of rerolls to work with. You're definitely going to be more well off than some of these teams in which we were talking about, to the point if they actually prepared, or maybe today was the first day, they don't have any gold in their back pocket, so they cannot utilize that, or at least not right out of the gates.
Yep, that's a great point. Again, for those, this is Dallas Cowboys events, we might be having some players that haven't played Fortnite in a while. For those that don't know what he's talking about, re-rolls. You can re-roll your augments to get better or different augments or perks. You need gold to do it. You acquire gold over time in games of Fortnite, and you can kind of max out your gold going into this competition. Most players will do that just by playing Fortnite.
Star Wars. Little NPCs spawning there, giving away Carrie's location. Can easily take him down, though, not waste too much time.
My man's repping Xbox Live in the gamer tag, though. He's proud.
And we do have some console players coming in.
Oh, do we? I thought it was PC only.
We have a few console players.
Awesome.
Crossplay, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's great.
NYC, another tough competitor to watch out.
Some tournaments, though, some tournaments require PC only. I'm glad to see the Dallas Cowboys being as inclusive as possible. All consoles allowed to compete here in this one, and brings back to like Piers, XBL, and all the OG players that stayed on Xbox and PlayStation continue to roll.
Barely slides into the bush. Carries the one on the other side. You got School towards the back end as well. School's trying to have a better game this time around because that's who Reflections took out in game number 1, and that's something that'll wake you up. Reflections,
yeah, it's like you can take out Reflections. You got to rethink. You got to rethink things. You know.
He's tough though. The Reflections, I've been seeing him game lately, playing some Call of Duty ranked. He's playing some Fortnite zero builds. So even though I'm surprised, I'm not too surprised. He can get one.
He might get one elimination. We'll see if we jump on board with him at any point. We'll be jumping on board of Peach Cobbler. They get taken out. Become a Peach Cobbler by the Squid 777 Lucky Sevens. Squid gets an elim over Georgia Peach's very own, and Squid now will live to fight another day. Not many players in their vicinity, so Squid will be able to hit a rotate, but needs to hit a pretty maximum rotate. Zone's closing in 52.
Yeah, zone's going to have a southwestern pull for the majority, maybe one or two more zones, and then it's going to pull towards the east. So these players in the rotations, the timing has to be perfect, because if you get stuck on that congested end, we've already seen what done to players in game number 1. Players that were stacked off. They had some of the best loot on the island. You get stuck on that side of zone, it is tough, especially 60 grenades. If you can do the 60-meter grenade toss, as Brax just goes and takes advantage of somebody trying to open up a chest, shield bubble coming out, and this is where the real battle begins.
Yeah, but has an advantage. But Abrar's even held back. Doesn't have their overshield, though. Brax does. Brax controlling this fight for now. Abrar needs to somehow flip it and says, I'm just going to run away or get in the car or just get taken out. Brax with the elimination.
I love the attempt. I like what he was thinking. You can get in the car. You can change the seats up just a little bit to try to toss your opponent.
A little cheeky movement, right?
Yeah, off guard. But Brax, he had too much of a shot lead there at that stage in the game. It's unfortunate enough. I'm not sure he better off than he was before in terms of his loot. He still has that very, very common combat shotgun. So he probably should be looking for something to bolster his loadout. But at the same time, there's that weapon cache that kind of just spawned, and that's where he's going to go ahead and grab that.
Yeah, that's another thing. Look, you mentioned he had a shot lead. That's another thing in Fortnite Zero Build that is kind of more reminiscent of old school games or esports, right? In Fortnite with builds, you lose your shot lead, no problem, no sweat. You can build, you can get yourself back to full, you can reset a fight. In Zero Builds, every shot matters, and you can take your advantage, but it also sets up these moments where you can make plays. You can be someone that has the shot disadvantage, but still turns around the fight with some good maneuvering, good movement, and good accuracy.
Everyone's kind of positioned at the top of the island. Headshot shake. Says Sancho West. That was a good idea. Just go ahead and be the passenger in this game and let everybody go by. Park it at the top of the mountain. And you can see, though, the biggest thing for Headshot Chick is the lack of mobility. So this car has a little bit of an important role in trying to keep that one alive. It does look like Pilkey did take down N-Pen. And that's what you want to do if you're some of these other players in the lobby. Let everybody else take each other route, and you just collect those easy placement points. Because once you get in the top 8, you've at least collected half of them for your efforts.
Yeah, that's right. And now Pilkey, not many players nearby, southeast side of the map there in Slimy Springs. We'll be able to just reset and control this rotate. But there's one player, or sorry, Steamy Springs. But we'll have one player gatekeeping. When we say gatekeeping, we mean, well, you're at the gate or the entrance of the zone, and you're keeping the player from entering.
Kind of the name of the game. You have that great position. You don't want to give it up easy, as Pilkey's just checking the bushes, making sure nobody's hiding inside. And with the red eye, I like what he did. He took his time, lined a couple more shots into the bush, because it's easy to miss a couple shots and think it's safe. So he's making sure that no stone is unturned, or in this case, no leaf is unmoved.
Did you think that one through before this, or did that just come to you naturally?
That was natural. That's the one. That's the only one you're gonna get from him.
That was so good. He says only one. There's gonna be 15 more of those for the broadcast ends. That was impressive, man.
Brax took out Headshot Chick.
Ooh.
Now he has an Uber of his own, as Trey's just trying to take somebody out. Weakens the car to try to destroy as much of it as he can. That's Opt on the other side. Opt versus Trey. This is a battle between two big content creators trying to earn their spot here in the Super Bowl, in the stands at least.
Yeah, and that's what's cool with this tournament. It's open to anybody, right? Whether you're a pro player in FNCS, an OG pro player like Cease or Punisher, or a new school pro player. Obviously, you got Blake, who's been doing it for quite some time now, or others. Or you're a content creator, or just a fan of the Cowboys, and you saw this tweeted out, and you wanted to play Fortnite. You play Fortnite, and you made it here. Or Reflections, Sancho as a shoutcaster. You can play in this tournament. So that's what's awesome. It's a hodgepodge of all types of different players with all types of backgrounds here in Fortnite. Trey, as a content creator, trying to show that, hey, content creators can play, can shoot too. This is Zero Builds, Jacob. This isn't builds. Anyone can win this tournament.
Yeah, and you see kind of everybody positioned into the center of zone. Those are the players that are trying to earn that spot here. And I like what you're saying. It was top 20 through each and every one of the qualifiers. It was Zero Build, the format, 3 hours, your best 3 games counted. And I've seen some players kind of skate by, kind of let me know, like, hey, I'm not going for a high point here. I'm not trying to get gassed out in the pubs. I'm saving everything I got here for the finals. And some of them have already positioned themselves at the top of the leaderboard. So games that could be this close, all it takes is one mess up, one misstep that can kind of cost you everything. And right now, that's looking like it is going to be the trend here, especially with Victor V pulling up with 2 eliminations to start the game. He's already had 10 last game as well, so he's already in double digits overall.
Yeah, Victor's looking great. in this competition. Already rotated early to Steamy Springs, found himself a great building, and now sitting just behind those stairs, waiting for anyone to enter, pick up a third elimination. 2 already to start is great. Speaking of great, let's jump aboard with Cease, a all-time great in competitive Fortnite. He's the winner of the WSOE Fortnite competition alongside Elevate, his former duo, who no longer competes in Fortnite. Cease has continued to be a staple in competitive Fortnite for years, has stayed on top of the scene for the majority of that. It's impressive to see.
Yeah, he's also making that educational content out there for anybody. Cease's Thesis. He breaks down so many different variations of Fortnite, from FNCS to zero build competitions. So if you guys are trying to learn from one of the greats in Fortnite, make sure you guys go ahead and check out Cease. You kind of see what he's doing right now. He just put the porter bunker down on Rift Island. He's just trying to get that overclock pulse rifle before anybody else sniffs in that direction.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Cease and Elevate got 3rd at World Cup, or top 5, top 3 at World Cup as well, right?
I believe so. I do believe so.
And Nyrox and Aqua, who won Fortnite World Cup back in the day. Juno on board with them. 0 eliminations to their name. We saw Juno get taken out to Polarize last game. Blake with 3 already. So again, all of our Mega City players are leaving with eliminations. You saw Victor with 2, Blake with 3. That's the reality. Mega City, probably closest POI to Tilt Towers that you see here in Chapter 3. Means a lot of early game fights. If you got the skill, you can get some eliminations. Unlike my friend Reflections here, who's already taken out. Yep. We just keep roasting Reflections, man.
I think I saw Sancho West still in it. Yo, he's going to come back with a fire. He's going to win, and right, he's going to troll us both. He's like, hey, you want to go to the Super Bowl? He's going to hype us up. He's like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. Have fun watching it for your couch.
That's right. That's what you get for roasting me all broadcast. Like, I don't care. I will gladly turn down the Super Bowl potential with Reflections just to have 5 games straight of getting to roast him. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Taylor, Reflections Noble, one of the best commentators in the business, playing in this tournament. Big fan, I believe, of the Cowboys and the NFL as well. On board with Bougie right now. Bougie making the rotation here in Frenzy Fields and needs to find a position. This is a brutal late game circle PR. Not a whole lot of cover to work with for zero builds, especially.
Yeah, look at him. Look what he's doing. He's pre-planning where he's going to Yep, exactly. He's pre-planning where he's going to hide. He's taking out a lot of these bushes. And look, he stops just short of that next one, making sure he gives himself an escape plan to get into the car. But somebody spotted him on the other side. And notice that Rift Island is still in this zone at the north portion of the map. So the zone is going to pull away from that Rift Island as well. So anybody that's hedging their bets on the southern portion of the map will have more of a probability. But Blake is down.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Blake gets taken out by Statics. You thought it'd be a big game for him. Instead, he's out in 36th place. That won't do a whole lot for him in terms of points, and he's going to fall far behind now. Meanwhile, the elimination feed's getting lit up. NYC, Lahabit, James, and School getting taken out. School, another back-to-back, not great game.
Good Pilkey gave himself a little bit of a crevice. Even though he's going to have to rotate, he knows somebody's there. If they kinetic blade up and he was on that roof, they would be able to spot him out, and it's his choice if he wants to find him or not as well. He has 29 seconds. In theory, he could go back there, get that med kit, use it, and then rotate. But since he does have that rotation, not the farthest one here on the map, I do see some people that have a farther rotation. But as all those players go ahead and beat him to the punch, they could position to gatekeep him out. Gotta be careful.
Yeah. He has to start soon, though. And zone's going to be closing in 7 seconds, sorry. Schleim takes out Brax. Victor V getting eliminated from Zemi. That's your 2nd place overall player in the competition. So now you wonder, is Wicked still alive? Is Quinn still alive? Those are the 2 players in top 2 as a result of Victor V getting eliminated, who was your incumbent 2nd place player.
Yeah, Tui here qualified in the first qualifier, 94 points. He was slaying out. All of those came with victory royales attached as well. He's already have 4 eliminations so far in this game. We got a little bit of first-person mode with Blur Antics coming out. This is actually pretty
what a beautiful
neat.
pink steering wheel. I mean, look. I don't know about you. I've never had a pink all around my steering wheel like that.
Notice what he's doing, though. Notice what he's doing. See how the zone opened up, and that is now the slow side of the zone. In theory, no player should really be on that side. So he could go ahead and build himself that porter bunker, get himself a natural-made mountain or something that's on that side of the map to kind of use to terrorize anybody else as Quinn tries to get into the zone towards the slow end as well.
That's right. Well, there's the answer to our question. Quinn is still alive. Again, Quinn, your winner of game number 1, 1st place overall in the competition. 2 eliminations here in game 2. If Quinn gets another top 3 finish here, Jacob, he's starting to run away with this competition. But again, that's a big if. 27 players still alive as the zone's going to be closing in here in 50 seconds. It's going to be a tough rotation for Quinn. You got to think it's not looking good.
You have Complexity's own Maddie taking down Cease, adding one more elimination.
Wow.
But you see Quinn. Quinn is right now, he's jumping for information. He's spotting out as many of the teams that are nearby. And what he's doing is thinking. He's processing all this information as quick as possible to try to figure out where is this best rotation going to be at. In theory, because it has a shorter pull on the left side, it would give him more time to work with. But he might sacrifice that time to go to the other end of the zone where he could try and white line it in.
That's right.
Another elimination
Maddie
for
with
Maddie.
another one. Yeah, Maddie is popping off. Shout out to her. Complexity's very own, longtime female Fortnite streamer, competitor. Bougie gets an elimination on Libyan Fire. We saw Libyan earlier. Bougie earlier as well. Diggy Tate takes out Wally. Bougie gets eliminated, gets a taste of his own medicine to the hands of Buck.
Our antics here as well. Everybody's beginning to kind of feel the taste of being on that slow side of zone. You don't have that sort of rotation planned. You better watch out as Blur is going to the left side. Remember what I told you. In theory, that would be the slower. It gives you more time to work with because the zone isn't going to move as fast on this side of the map. But so many other players have already beaten to the punch. But he's just driving past everybody. And even if they do take out his vehicle, he has the 2 charges for the kinetic blade, trying to take out Quinn along the way, but hits a roadblock. Blur Antic is going untouched to the next center of the zone.
That's right. Wow, what a rotation for free, basically. Untouched here. Still has overshield. Going to finally be tagged up. Now this is going to be a tough situation for Blur. Needs to find some cover, some respite ASAP.
Tagged in through the back window. Overshield is down as well. E2, like some of the other players in that last zone, going to where you think no players are going to be at because the zone has just opened up. But if everybody has that plan, it makes a congested side. There's 3 people, 1 person on the first floor, second floor, and even the attic as Thork spots one on the other side. Misses a close shot, but at least he got that player outside of the tree.
That's right. Moose going to heal back. Thor could have gotten the headshot and gotten that elimination. Instead, try and finish what he started with Moose right below. Moose, a combination of both. Hasi nearby. Thoric. Zemi takes out Statix, who's been on a roll here. Finally gets shut down. Trey still alive.
Huge. It's huge for these players that are trying to make up for that lost time and didn't have that best game into the top 12. Remember, half of those points are rewarded when you get into the top 8. And even more so once you get into that top 5. That's when the points begin to jump even more. And Zemi, we saw him go down trying to make a play in game number 1 with 5 eliminations here and a top placement. It could be like that game never happened.
That's right. Mouse did end up getting taken out. Was basically like a little vulnerable Mouse. Was weak, was low ground, not a lot of cover to work with. Mouse eliminated. On board with Zemi now. Zemi making their rotation through, trying to get ahead of the rotate. Immediately taking out this vehicle just in case anyone's nearby. Immediately turns, tracks. 1 great tracking, great damage done. Gets the elimination. Is Zemi. That's going to be on Trey, 509.
Quickly drops the bubble shield down. Some on the other side, so he knows that this bush is going to be one of the most sought-after locations, but instead of waiting for it, he brought the fight to Maddie, taking her down, getting himself into the top 10. That shows the threat of that Mythic Havoc pump, but shots coming in from all angles. Zemi's trying to get out, goes into a bush, but he finds Frost. A huge shot's going to be fired, but he gets taken down with the porta bunker there. Frost has bought himself more time.
Yeah, that's right. Zemi had a big game, though. High eliminations. Now it's Frost. It's Punisher. It's Quinn. The last 3 of these 7 alive. On board with Hazi. Diggy Tate. Both alive, as well as Quinn, the winner from last game, looking to go back-to-back.
Ozzy knows somebody's there on the other side. Everybody using the cornfields to hide as much as possible. Thanking the farmer that he's built such a huge livestock here. As Diggy, he has that breacher shotgun. If he can land a headshot, that will deal a ton of damage. But if he gets into CQC and he starts to hip fire, that's when things can come tumbling down for Diggy.
Look how many players are all in this cornfield nearby. Punisher gets 1 on K-Burbs. Thoric, not a whole lot of health to their name on high ground. 6 players alive. Tension so tight you can cut with a knife here as we're on board with Diggy Tate. On this rotation, pretty match rotation, pretty far one. They're all within the vicinity. This is like a game. It's like a horror movie here, Jacob. In the cornfields, it's Halloween season. Here comes Punisher.
Him taking his time, one bush to the next. We know Hazi's on the other side. I don't know what Punisher is, but Zone's going to make them push past each other. He goes up. He goes over. Shield's going to get dropped down, though. He has no heals left to his name. First, Bubble Shield's going to go down. You see the Slap Juice over on the other side, but is that worth the Punisher? As everybody's going to kinetic blade to try to take his spot.
Oh, no. He hit a bounce. Needs to buy himself time. Had to use another porta bunker. Gets taken out by Quinn. Quinn now has all the cover in the world to work with, but getting hunted down. 49 HP to their name, and that's it. Gonna get eliminated. Quinn, see you later. Hazi gets the pickup, but it's gonna be Thoric Hazi who gets the double on Diggy. Hazi can't be stopped. He's a brick house.
And Thoric down low, he's waiting. Frost was taking the Uber, so he's going through unscathed up to this point. Chug Splash is going off. Frost is trying to find an exit as he takes down Thoric as well. This has come down to a 1v1 with the health lead going on over to Hazi.
That's right. Frost trying to get their overshield back and going to be taken out. Hazi is going to be in control of this fight with high ground. Hazi with the dub. Hazi wins game number 2. What a performance for Hazi. 5 eliminations and a victory royale.
Late into that game, Hazi knew the back was against the wall. I can't just hide my way. I'm going to have to fight my way out, get elimination after elimination to get that top spot, which is a huge 30-point boost with that victory royale.
Massive game for Hazi after getting taken out fairly early in game 1, not in the top 10 or even top 20 in standings. Needed a big one because, again, this is go big or go home. You got to be first and nothing less if you want those 2 illustrious tickets to the Super Bowl next year. Wow, what a game number 2. What a showing overall. We'll jump into the highlights here in just a moment to show you guys the action in case you missed it.
I can see in that last game, Hazi had 1 elimination, scored 46 placement points. Didn't really have much to show for it. Definitely moved up the leaderboards after that game, but is Hazi going to be in first? I'm not sure because Quinn, he lasted very, very late, got himself into the top 7 where he got a ton of placement points and a few eliminations as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's going to be enough for Quinn to hold on. But if Hazi had as big of a game as I think he did in 5 elims first place, that was huge. And depending on his game number 1, it's going to be close in the standings. But hey, we'll get the standings after our break. For now, let's walk through these highlights. Sprax with elimination over Abrar there. Zemi, only 12 players were left in this scenario. Great tracking. Mouse and keyboard player, clearly. And Zemi, one of the great mouse and keyboard players, fun to watch. 6 eliminations, really high elimination game, but ended up winning this 1v1 against Maddie. Really good job for Zen. He was on a bit of a spree there, but then got taken out right after.
Yeah, you can kind of think that Maddie thought that she was safe for the most part. 2 different shield bubbles. Who's going to come out of those? And Zemi just popped on out, trying to take the fight to somebody else's doorstep. You see Frost was the one who takes Zemi out. The misplay with the bunker. Punisher gets taken down, but that's Quinn. Quinn actually got into the top 5 with 4 eliminations. So I'm not for sure first place is going to be easy to take at all.
I think Quinn holds on. We'll, of course, not speculate. We'll just get the actual standings for y'all as soon as we possibly can. Hazi, though, look at this. He was hurt. Took to the sky, stayed alive, and then Frost in the 1v1 had complete control over him. Hazi with great plays. I am so impressed from what we saw here from Hazi here in game number 2.
Yeah, it's definitely going to put a lot of these players on notice because we did see a lot of names that did go down early on in game number 1. Even Thoric, FNCS champion, chapter 3, season 3. He made a misplay in game number 1. It cost him. In game number 2, he made so many adjustments. I do believe he got himself into the top 5 as well. A lot of those placement points up for grabs, and that's where I would say those eliminations at the top level, I think, is what's really going to make the difference.
That's right. Well, look, you've heard us say it all broadcast long. A big thank you to Lenovo, our sponsor for this event, supporting this inaugural Dallas Cowboys Game Time tournament. We're going to jump to a quick Lenovo break. When we come back, game number 3, some more Fortnite after this.
Back, I'm trying the air.
Welcome back, everybody, to the inaugural Dallas Cowboys Game Time Tournament. My name is John Kefalukas, also known as Fallout, joined alongside Jacob Arce, a.k.a. PR. 2 games down, 3 to go in this 5-game series. What are your takeaways so far?
I mean, this is where you really have to start to cement yourself. 2 games, like you said, are down. That warm up, those excuses are out the window. You better have solidified your drop spot and your game plan, because what we've seen is we have some consistent players already putting themselves a little bit of distance between them and the rest of the leaderboard after that first game alone. So we saw some make it into that end game away again. So I can only imagine what that score is already.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the leaderboards. We're still calculating them, churning them away. We'll have those up for you as soon as we possibly have them, either now or during game number 3. But look, a big game for Quinn. I'll say it. Back-to-back performances. Consistency is going to be key. Obviously, you thought I was going to say the winner. Now, Quinn did a great job maintaining another top 5 finish. If he can keep that up, top 5, couple eliminations per game, in addition to his first place win that he had last game, he's going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we see some players trying to contest that Quinn on the top of that leaderboard. We see some big eliminations. I saw a couple of players with 5 in that last game. I saw some with 6 in that last game. You mix that with a couple consistency, especially out in the fact we got 3 more games to play out. If Quinn goes down early on in any one of those games, you could go ahead and kiss his top position on that leaderboard goodbye. And we're only just assuming that he's top on that leaderboard. He won game number 1 with 2 eliminations. He got a top 5 with a couple eliminations in that last game as well. So there's a ton of placement points already going on over to Quinn. But only time will tell as this leaderboard is going to kind of get calculated who else has a chance. It's 2 tickets, all expensive paid, to Super Bowl. And I definitely know all these players want at least to go ahead and have those bragging rights to say they went to the Super Bowl, they experienced greatness. Who knows? Maybe they can meet some Dallas Cowboys along the way.
That's right. Yeah, look, like I mentioned earlier at the broadcast, I had a chance to attend Super Bowl week and weekend. I didn't go to the Super Bowl per se. Awesome networking experience, awesome partying, social, fun experience. It's like a giant party all week long. There's a ton going on. It is a pretty amazing opportunity here. I've never heard of such a cool prize, first place prize in any esports competition that are not cash prizes. Obviously, money is kind of cool. But Dallas Cowboys putting on this event is pretty darn awesome. And I got to say, look, we have a lot of time to talk about gameplay as we're waiting to get the leaderboards calculated. I'll just take a moment to say, this is awesome. Look, I had 2 or 3 different people message me and saying, how do we get the Chiefs to do this? How do we get the Jets to do this? Look, the reality is, Dallas Cowboys are leading the way right now. What Jerry Jones has done, supporting the Complexity organization, an ownership and kind of a beautiful logo merger of the Dallas Cowboys and Complexity is pretty darn cool. The fact that the Cowboys are leading the way, not just in the NFL, as I think the most valuable franchise in the NFL, I believe they are, but also in the transformation to digital, the transformation to esports and gaming and kind of where things are headed. The merger of gaming and mainstream media is amazing. It's really awesome to see. The Dallas Cowboys are at the forefront of that.
Yeah, and they're just giving opportunities to where opportunities aren't normally given out to just everyday folks. This was open. There was 5 different qualifiers to get to this point. Quinn, okay, the player that we're talking about, he earned a qualification spot. Some of your favorite players here earned their qualification spot in those qualifiers to kind of get the right to even fight for these Super Bowl tickets. And it was kind of a different format to get to this point. And this is where you're seeing the difference kind of lay in a lot of these players and their play style.
That's a really good point. You're right. They easily could have done a pro player only, invite only competition where you invite Dallas Cowboys players to play. No, they do all types of really cool content events like this. But the fact that they did it the right way, and in my eyes, the right way in esports is open qualifier, giving anyone a chance to play and compete and rise up against the pros. And look, we're seeing it. Hazy and Quinn, yes, 2 great players, but you're going up against Cease and Punisher, 2 legends, 2 greats. You're going up against Blake and others who are titans in this scene.
Not easy.
And you're going pound for pound. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy, but it's something that I said that kind of spark a lot of different careers because it's happened so many other times. We've seen solo events kind of play out to where players win that event or get a top position on that leaderboard when the event is over, and it kind of puts the notice. It puts the spotlight on these players like, hey, I didn't know so-and-so was good. Maybe we should give them a try up, put them in some scrims, play the new rank modes, and then next thing you know, you're playing in so many other tournaments trying to play for so much money out there that is up for grabs, even the Super Bowl tickets here. Who knows what the Dallas Cowboys would throw at us next?
Yeah, that's right. No, completely agreed. I think it's been awesome to see this tournament done the right way. I don't know if it's the Dallas Cowboys is the tournament admins behind the scene. I know GCN, no Michael Plexi is involved as well. The people that put this together did a remarkable job. This is a top tier event in terms of content, excitement. The pricing is great, the stakes, and of course the broadcast. Hope you're all enjoying the action at home. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to cast. Game number 3 just around the corner. Again, if you're just tuning in, welcome everybody to the Dallas Cowboys Game Time competition. This is a zero build Fortnite 5-game grand finals. There's been 4 open qualifiers where players had a chance to earn their spot in this last and final competition. We're going to jump on board with Hazi, who won game number 2, one of our qualifier players, like you said.
And you can see they got a little bit of a far drop this time around. Going to zoom past Mega City. I do believe Hazi has uncontested, or at least seemingly uncontested, over towards Naughty Nets. You get at least 1 guaranteed kinetic blade, possible ODM chest spawns as well. So if it is uncontested, I can see why Hazi's coming out with such good loot to have the performance that Hazi did in that last game.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, the age-old debate. Do you drop center map for early rotates, or do you drop on edge to avoid the traffic on your rotates? Do you have any opinions there? As Maddie gets a first elimination here on Cool Dude?
Depends on the meta. Right now, I think the bottom right half of the map is going to kind of be the sought after. You get those guaranteed kinetic blades, and then maybe from there you try to go for those ODM spawns. And right out of the gate, he's just getting tagged up. Luckily for the overshield, though, it's going to keep the HP intact.
That's crazy. Can you imagine Hazi winner game 2 gets taken out, not even getting to his POI? It was such a far rotate. By the time he dropped, there's been 8 players eliminated already. That's how aggressive and fun, action-packed this gameplay has been so far. If you like Fortnite, where you get to see a lot of action, not just rotations, then you'll like this gameplay. Cease takes out one. Victor V eliminated by Mizega.
Yeah, this is huge. That's what I'm saying. You have one misstep, it could cost you a lot. Victor V, stellar performances throughout the first 2 games, and that's where you see NYC. You can notice right now NYC is crouching and scoped in to try to hide as much of the audio cues as possible, but Tyler Bueno spots you from the high ground. NYC doing a good job of trying to battle back, play with the lines of sight. Heavy snipes him right down into the palm of his hands and takes him out, and outside of the box thinking from NYC to get that elimination.
Sneaky play. Keeping his audio cues at an all-time low, and gets the Elim Chug Ked Chug doing a good job getting him back to full, and good job getting his first elimination is NYC. Meanwhile, you'll see this very even distribution of players all across the map. Why is that? Again, if you're new to competitive Fortnite, you've never really watched a Fortnite esports or tournament competition, players basically claim their POI, their point of interest, and their place where they drop early, and that's why you see such an even distribution here. They all know where everyone's dropping in advance. On board of Punisher right now. The house quite literally on fire. The roof included. And Punisher is dominating.
Yeah, Nub's just burning alive, literally. Punisher is going to be able to get that one, like you said, but somebody is hiding behind one of those trees. If Punisher doesn't watch out, he could take a ton of damage on the other side. Got to imagine Punisher probably heard something. Sees him on the tail end. Yeah, it's going to be an easy cleanup for Punisher. 2 quick eliminations, make it 3 overall. Already trying to climb up the leaderboard here.
That's right. And Punisher with the eliminate right there, like you said. Look, I think it's a good time to bring up. We'd be remiss not to. The fact that in this competition, because it's open to anyone, and it was open qualifiers, well, you have a variety and a really large disparity of skill. You have top pro players playing in this that were invited, or just in general, and then you have players that are just everyday Fortnite players, like Reflections, who just had a chance to qualify through. I'm just getting shot to Reflections, and so you see a really big skill gap here from the top players and the amateurs that are just playing recreationally.
Hopefully Punisher watches out, though, because he took down 3 players rather